So let's start with part D, which is the last part of this lesson.
Now, let me turn on the wireframe here so you can see everything clearly. Let me move a little bit here so you can see the gaps. Now, notice that if I go to my vertex, just see this vertex and this vertex have a gap. They are not joined together, or this edge or this edge or this face and this face are not joined together. So we have to weld them, just like gluing them, like super gluing them. So how to do that? First of all, we have to combine both of them. We have to attach both of them. So let's see how to attach them. I have to go to the object mode here, and then I have to press shift key and select the other one. So both of them are selected. So as both of them are selected, you can go to the option over here and look for the like we have an option called combine, okay, which you can find under the mesh. So if you go to the mesh, you will see the combine, and we have here some like settings. You can see merge by name and all these settings, but we don't want to like play with the settings. Like pretty much they are okay. So we can just go simple and press combine here. Now both are in the same, like they are same. You can see that they are same now. They are one object. But the issue is that they have separate, like they don't have these two like faces or elements, you can say, attached. So to do that, there are a number of ways to do. Like suppose if I want to, I can right click here, select the vertex, and you can see all the vertices are selected because they are visible because they are one object. So I can select one here, okay, press like snap to points, click here and move this to here. Now when I move it, it snaps to it, okay, but it doesn't mean that it is joined. So if I will right click and go to the edge and try to move, or let me undo this, uncheck this one and try to move it, you can see that it's not attached, okay. So what I need to do here is that I have, let me go back to the vertices. I have to make sure these two vertices are selected. So I have to select these two vertices and make sure not any other vertex is selected, otherwise it will not work. So only these two are selected, okay. So once you make, you have made sure that they both are selected, they are on top of each other. So we can go to the option over here, and we have to search for the merge. So we will go to the edit mesh, and we have here merge. So if you will click on the merge here, it will give you a threshold. Now what is the threshold? Threshold is basically the distance between the two vertices that you have selected. So these two vertices were on top of each other, so that means they will weld with a very less value. If they are not top of each other, if they are fairly little bit have a gap between them, then you have to increase this. But in this case, I don't have to increase because they were already on top of each other, so the lower value can also work, okay. Now I have merged them. Now if I will right click, okay, go to edge and press W over here and try to move it, you can see that they both are moving as they are joined to each other, okay. So let me undo that. That means they are merged now, they are welded now. Another way to do, let's go back to the vertex, another way to do the welding is through the option which is called target weld, which is fairly more easy. So to do that, what you need to do is that we have to look for the options called target weld, and which you can find in the mesh tool. So if you go to the mesh tools, here is the target weld, okay. Select if I will choose the target weld from here, okay. Now I have to click here, and then it shows me the direction. Like suppose if I click over here, now it's asked me where you want, which vertex you want to merge. So I can go to either this vertex or maybe this vertex or this, but I want to merge to this one. So I will go to this vertex, and then it will move there and it will merge. It pretty much works with the whole thing. So as you can see that it's already selected here. So that means I have to press W on my keyboard so I can go back to my normal mode out of this. and I can right click and I can go to the edge. Now I can do the target weld with the edge as well. So if I will go to mesh tools, target weld, I can do the same thing with the edge. Like, and I can select this edge, merge to this edge, okay, and I can select this edge, and then quickly I can do all of them, okay. So it's quite more faster. And oops, this one as well. Okay, so you can see that fairly easily I have done this one. Oops, control. And sometime maybe it will not work, so what you need to do is that you have to go back to the vertex, okay, and the mesh tools, and you can target weld the, you know, these vertices also. Okay, so now they are done. Okay, now let's do one thing here. Let's go to, let's select this my seat over here, control H to hide it so we can see everything is fine. Yeah, everything is fine here, but you will see that some vertices are not, like, you know, they're jagged here because I merged this one to this one and this one to this one, so they're not like perfectly aligned. So to fix this, what you can do is that you can go back, you can go in your vertices, okay, and then you can select all these vertices just like this one, okay. And what you can do is here is that I can move them around here, and then I can go and select this part here, okay. This is cube 2, this is cube 1, so let me check one thing here. So this is basically the original one. So cube 2 is the original one, so we don't want the original one. So what we will do is that we will delete the original one. We will keep the one which is duplicated one. So I will go here in the vertex mode. So now what I will do is that I will select all these in the middle one, because these are the one you can see that they are jagged and not centered. So once they all are selected, I will take my scaling tool, okay, which is basically this one, the R, and I will scale it to the x-axis, okay, just like this. And then when I do that, you will notice that it has become straight. So that's all what you can do with this. Then oops, I can go back to my object mode. Then I will go back to the display, show last hidden, and I have my the whole thing as this selected. So this is my pretty much the sofa here. And one thing is that because it's, if you will see the front side of the sofa, it's quite very sharp, okay, and usually the sofas should not be that sharp. It should look like more organic because it is like a upholstery. So what I can do is that let me do one thing. Let me turn off the wireframe, and then I can right click, go to faces, select this face, then press shift key, double click here, and whatever is in between will be selected. I can press Control B on my keyboard, and then I can apply a bevel with fairly good amount of fraction, not too much, otherwise it will not look that good. And we have to see if the fraction is not affecting or creating any artifacts around these borders, because if you will increase it more and there is no enough amount to apply fraction, so you will get artifacts. So you have to make sure you don't get those artifacts. Now I can increase the number of segments. So if I will increase really this much, so you can notice that it's become a little bit smoother. So now I can right click, go back to object mode, so you can see that it's fairly smooth here. Okay, So we have a good kind of a sofa here. So now we have a good like a model here. So now let's see how we can apply the smooth modifier over it. So to apply a smooth modifier, you have to first select your object, then you have to go to mesh, and here you have the smooth modifier and settings. So let's see the settings first. So in the settings I have subdivision level 2. Okay, I can increase that if I want my objects to be more smoother. So but I will keep it 2. Okay, and there is subdivision type. There is one open subdivision Catmull-Clark and Maya Catmull-Clark. So I will keep it as it is, everything, and I will just press smooth. And if you will see here, there are a lot of faces now, because what does the smooth modifier do is that it it subdivides your existing faces and make them smoother. It doubles them, and when it gets double, it becomes smoother. So if you don't have enough number of good subdivision, like I told you before, you will not get the right result. But in this case, it's fairly good. In the back we didn't have more, so you can see that it looks more organic here, but it's okay, it's fine, it's not that bad. If I will take this one and do the same thing here, okay, smooth modifier here, so you can see that it will become smooth. Okay, and you have some issue here because though the edges were too close to each other, you can move them apart, but it doesn't look that bad. It kind of created design, and you can see that like there are so many number of edges here, so you can see that we have lost too much detail, like not too much detail, very tiny detail here, but you can still fix it. You can you can increase the size of it, something like this. Okay, and you can move it around, or you can do some extra changes here. Okay, so and then if you want, you can move this a little bit down so you can have a little nicer curve over here. Let's see from the back side. Okay, now it looks good, perfectly fits. Okay, so now you can try making the legs and everything just to see that everything looks fine with it. So this is how you usually make your like model. Okay, with the polygon modeling, with the references. So accurately with the help of the reference, if I turn this back on, so you can see that it's like fairly good enough. Like it's kind of look like that. So so this is how it will help you to create an accurate size of the model. So always use the references, especially when you are making something like a car or a character or like furniture. And if you have the references, it will help you a lot, and it will always keep you stick to whatever you want. Okay, so this is how you you can create your models basically. So one extra thing we can do here is that, let me close this one. Let me hide this and hide this as well. Okay, and you can also see here it has created some like groups. Like last time, as I told you, like it creates history. So what you can do is you can let me undo for a while. So what you can do, you can go back here and edit, delete by type, or delete all by type. I will do delete by type history. It will delete the history for this one. And I can do the same thing here. I think there is no history for this, but let's do this. By type history. So what it do is that it removes all the history that that was created here. So now your models become more clear and more cleaner, because with the history you have some issues. Sometimes you have issues, but without the history it looks like pretty much fine now. So let's hide this one. Okay. Now let me quickly make something here like a cup. Let's make a cup here. So I will make a cylinder here and make a top of it. Okay, now I have this cylinder, but it does not look like a cup, because cup should have a depth inside. So what I can do is that I can just right click here and I can go to faces mode. So now I can select these faces and all of them. Now I can press Control E on my keyboard to get the extrude option. Okay, I can do the offset here to give it a border a little bit, and then thickness. Okay, I don't want too much thickness, a little bit thickness, just like this. And then I will use the local translate, okay, as well. But I think not local translate, thickness is fine. Okay, and I can increase one subdivision on here, and then I will press enter here or go back to my normal mode. So I have this, but still I don't have a depth. So now what I will do is that I will press Ctrl E again, and this time I don't want any offset, so maybe I will keep the offset 0, but thickness I will reduce it to the negative value. So just to see how it is going, I can turn on my wireframe so I can see how deep it is going. So I turned on my wireframe from here if you're wondering. So I will move till here. Now I can go back to my moving tool, go out from here. Now I need to make a handle over here. To create a handle, what I need is that I need at least edge, like one edge loop here, one edge loop here, one here, one here. So I will go back to my edge mode. Okay, and then I can go to mesh tools, select the edge loop. I will create one edge loop here, one edge loop here, one edge loop here, one edge loop here, or I can create one edge loop and offset them, but it's I just did it in this way. Now what I will do is that I will go to the object mode, and then I will go to orthograph and front or side view. So I will go to the front view. Okay, and I want to make a handle over here. So I will not make a handle right away. What I will do is that I will go to curves, and I have a lot of different kind of curves over here. Just like in Illustrator, if you have curves here as well. So what I can do is that I can choose any kind of curve here. So basically I have Bezier curve, so I will choose, let me check which one is the easier one which can create. So okay, let's choose this Bezier curve. So I can, just like it is if you have worked in Illustrator or Photoshop, you have like paths over this, the same thing. So I will take the curve. So I will make one curve here. Let me turn one. Let's do one thing first. Let's turn on the wireframe so I can see that. I can make one curve here. Okay, one here and then here, and then I can press enter on my keyboard. Okay, so I have this curve here which I can go right click and go to control curve point, or sorry, control vertex point. Just like you go to vertex, I can go the vertex in the curves as well. We will do in detail about these curves, so don't worry about the like the details of the curve. So I can move them wherever I want. I can select this one. I can move these. So oops. Select this one, move it a little bit upward, select this, move it over here, select this middle one. Actually you have to be careful when you're selecting this one. So now it's fine, so I can go back to my perspective viewport. So you can see that I have pretty much a good curve here, but the curve have to be a little bit rotated. So I can go in the rotate mode, and I can rotate my curve like this, and then I can move the curve so that it can, the reason I'm rotating is that so it can follow the like the direction of my mark. So this is fine. Okay, now why I made this curve, the reason I made this curve is that because this curve will act like a direction for my extrude, because what I will do, I will extrude a face from this end, and I will convert that extrude into a handle. So what I will do here is that I will go here, face, select this face, okay, and now I will extrude this face using this guide as a path for this extrude. Okay, so what I need to do is that I have to select this face, then press Shift key on my keyboard and select this curve as well. Now you can see the face is pinkish, or you can see a little bit orangish color, and the curve is greenish, so that means I have selected the curve last. Now what I can do is that I can go and select where is my extrude in the edit mesh, and when I press extrude, you can see that it has not extruded in this direction. It is extruded in this direction. So actually I don't have a lot of division, that's why it looks like this. But let's see what happens if I increase the division. So if I increase the division, you can see that it is following the curve. Okay, now this is how I made it. Okay, this is how it has been followed, and then I can do any of these things, but I don't want to do any changes. I'm happy with this. So one issue is here is that it is still not joined to this part. So what I need to do is that I need to join these two parts. So I will select these first. Let me delete this so I can have more gap. I can delete this one. Okay, so I have this open edge over here. Now remember, I told you that when you're merging or combining two different objects like we were doing in the sofa, so you need an open edge. So you should not have a face. So here it is open, which is fine. So here it is not open. So I will select this one and I will delete this. So now it is opened. So what I can do here is that I want to join this edge loop around this and edge loop here. So this joining is basically called bridging. So I want to do bridging. So what I will do, I can right click here. I can go to the edge, double click this so that it will select this edge loop. And same thing with the Shift key, double click this. So it will select this edge loop. And now I will bridge them. So to bridge them, I have to go to the edit mesh, and I have an option here called bridge. So you have to make sure the edge loops that you want to bridge are selected. So these two are already selected. So I will go to the bridge, and as soon as I will do the bridge, those edge loops which I have selected, now they are joined together with an extra bridge. As you can see, these faces is acting like a bridge between those two edge loops. Okay, you can see these edge loops are selected. Now I can add more division. I can add on one, or I can do the taper. So actually I don't want to do the taper. It will not work at the moment right now, as there are not a lot of divisions here. I can twist them, or I can do so many other things here. Okay, so I can do the target weld, or like like direction target or source target. So I don't want to do any other like thing. Curve type, I have here linear, I have blend, okay, and I have curve. So I will not choose any one of these other than the linear. I will keep it linear, or maybe curve, but I think linear is fine. So you can see that how I got the mug. Okay, so maybe if you want, you can add a smooth modifier to it. Okay, so but you don't actually need the smooth modifier. But let's see how it acts like if I add a smooth modifier. Oops, I have to first select it as an object mode. So once object mode is selected, then I can apply the smooth modifier. Now you can see how it looks like. Let me turn off this. So you can see it really looks like a organic sort of mug. Here you can see it is too much organic. It's too organic at this side, so that means you need a more edge loops here, so that if you have a lot of edge loops, then you will not have this issue. For example, if I undo here, okay, so if I go to the edges, okay, and then if I go to, if I double click here, sorry, if I select this one, and this one, so I can do like an offset edge loop over here, so I will not have some issue here. Okay, so I can select these edges, okay, here, and then I can select these edges, and you know, something like this kind of thing. So I can I will not have this issue. Or what I can do is that I can simply, instead of doing that, what I can do is I can go to and simply make an edge loop around it. So I can go here and set edge loop, so I can very closely, I can make one edge loop here, I can make one edge loop here, okay. So something like this, you can do that, okay. So maybe I can edge loop here, so a couple of one on this side. So if you will do on this side, so you will not have that too much smooth results. Now I can press W on my keyboard and then right click object mode, and then if I will apply, so result will be little bit better than before. So now you can see that I don't have that issue here because I added like very close edge loops at this side. So if you will see, I added more edge loops there, so you don't have that issue here, okay. So this is how the edge loops work. So wherever you don't want a lot of smoothness going on, like suppose on the bottom or anywhere else, so you can add edge loops, and then you will have a good result. So I hope you have understood about everything in detail. It was a quite longer tutorial, around you can say 2 hours. So but I hope you have understood everything about it. So you can watch this tutorial in like different parts, little different parts. You can break them into different parts and then watch them, so you can understand like more clearly. Or if you want, you can have little breaks between and then you can watch. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel, click the bell icon, visit my website as well, and please share my channel to different other people because it will help them a lot. There will be a lot of free tutorials coming up. Some master classes will be coming up as well. So see you guys in the next class, in the next session.